Hey, what the hell's going on, you guys? This is Tuba by NegativeAE, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry. Last we left off, we were almost done with chapter 6. I don't know. This is page 6. We're just going to continue to click on things that we can click on. We just finished a chessboard, so I don't know if the rest of them are just like this. This piece is the only one that's so distorted. That's because this is from the June of the 50th year of the Showa era. Therefore, the existence of this piece has no effect whatsoever in the game that we're playing on the board. But is this really a useless piece? The existence, or the identity of Rule Y has been completely exposed now. With the power of a great organization, it is powerful enough to swallow up a small solidarity of individuals. I almost gave up on this game because of its irrational power. That's why I think maybe there's a piece hidden somewhere that's strong enough to fight against such a strong enemy. Akasaka Mamoru works at the police headquarters in Tokyo and has the power to stand up against such a big conspiracy. His power will withstand even against Rule Y. Just like Maebara Keiichi defeated Rule Z cleanly, will he be able to defeat Rule Y cleanly as well? We need everyone's strength. Akasaka's strength is needed as well. That's a short ass piece, dude. It makes me think that all these pieces are going to be super short. Are we at the end of the game? Did we just finish the game? So we need a Akasaka. We got another game piece. In order for Maebara Keiichi to become a game piece that leads everyone, there's something he has to learn about. A piece that's very painful, pitiful, and sad. To learn about this, his friends... To learn about his friends and not to doubt them. He doesn't know the importance of trusting his friends. He doesn't know yet. Maebara Keiichi develops paranoia from a slight mistrust and becomes trapped in Rule X. Keiichi dies, leaving behind a sad note at the end of Rule X. It is very sad and painful, but it is also a very important learning process of learning something very important. Hey, Hanyu, you didn't have to apologize. In the few days he left Hinamizawa to attend his relative's funeral, he had an outbreak which was really tragic. But I think it was necessary as a first step towards learning something important. The very first step to smoke out Rule X and eventually defeat it. When I only had this piece, I didn't even think of that though. Keiichi has to realize that he need that. Basically, we're getting to the point where everybody's needed. Everybody's power is needed to change. We're gonna click on everything that was there because all of these have the same condition. Game board must be set up. So let's just do all the setup before we jump into anything. The game piece reminds us that whatever happens on this game board, everything is due to the curse of the Sonozaki family pulling strings. Now, to put it in my words, this is the piece to make everyone aware of the existence of Rule Z. It is hard to notice with this piece, but this is a complicated piece that Sonozaki Shion, who is confined by Rule X, as she is mistakenly ridiculed by Rule Y, becomes aware of Rule Z. But there is also the piece that teaches us the rules of the game board. By the way, the piece called Sonozaki Shion is a piece coming from outside the game's point of view. She dislikes Hojo Satoko at first, but through this and another piece she learns something important. She challenges Rule X and then grows up to be a powerful piece to fight Rule Z. This is very funny, but it's hidden so cunningly there's no way to see the fact that fact with just a glance. Learn from your mistakes, and please become a powerful piece and lend me your strength to defeat the enemy. I think we're like these are ending pretty fast. They're talking about how everybody breaks a certain rule. Like Akasaka might break one rule, Keiichi breaks another rule, and then Mion breaks the other rule. So then, what's this going to talk about? This piece shows us the existence of unreasonable rule Z that surrounds Satoko and reveals the most powerful adversary of the game board, rule Y. Can all rules X, Y, Z be seen now? The enemy we need to fight, the things we need to learn. The piece reveals the assembly of all that. The existence of rule Y isn't indistinguishable at this point. At the very best, fighting against rule Z that's surrounding Satoko is the limit. But with this piece, we make a mistake in our approach to fight it. The outcome we gained through erroneous ways is erroneous. Mibari Keiichi learns through his own experience. The power to defeat a tragedy isn't another tragedy. The power to defeat violence isn't violence. If they can learn that, all the pieces on this game board will learn the true way to fight. But Takano is too powerful. The shocking end of this piece at the end doesn't allow us to learn it that easily. If we can break rule X, Y, and Z, we win. Like a chess game. A chessboard. That's what they're trying to say. Alright, and then we have 4. I believe all of them can be accessed now. Except for that one, which we need 7 pieces for. We're going to do Onakakushi. What was Onakakushi? Was that the first one? This piece, because it has shown us that it is possible to poke a hole in the fate. No, it's not the first one. Is it? Showa era, the first timeline, so at the conclusion, everything gets taken in by rule Y, and in the end, everything goes wasted. But we challenged the great... I'd be interested. I have to read what is what. Onakakushi sounds like the first one, but I think it might be the second one. The one we're playing right now is Matsuri Bayashi. And Rika's started with a T. But we challenged the great law that governs this game board, Rule X, and head on. We use everything from what we've learned so far from other game pieces and prove that we can defeat it. We grow by learning. In a game with no hope of winning, we can discover a slight chance of victory. This piece has taught us that. With this game piece, Rule X was almost completely defeated. Mibari Keiichi and the others won't be led astray, something as pathetic as the Hinamizawa syndrome, and dance in a tragedy. It has also taught us that rules aren't just indestructible, but are possible to defeat. So this is the one where Keiichi breaks fate? Is that what I'm understanding? An important game piece that is the cue for everything, as well as the game's turning point. I like how they're calling it a game because they're talking about chess, but it's like a game. You know? Man, these are going by fast. I'm afraid. I think we're going to end it here. I don't know why I'm afraid, but I'm it's that same feeling I had with Steins Gate, where it's like, oh no, a big part of my life is ending. This is taking up so much of my life already, and so now it just feels like something I do. I like go on and I think about Higurashi and what's gonna happen, and now this is gonna be the end. This is the piece Sonozaki Shion, who goes mad, taken in by Rule X. No room for sympathy. This is such a painful piece that one can only have pity. It distinctively identifies the keyhole of the padlock called Rule Z. Mibari Keiichi becomes the key himself to pry open this padlock. As Sonozaki Mion wished for, he clears the stale air that filled the village. This piece also has an important lesson. Sonozaki Shion learns through this piece and then becomes a strong ally for Hojo Satoko. By the way, maybe Hojo Satoko is a piece that represents the padlock for Rule Z. Unless she is saved, Rule Z won't be defeated. When she is saved, that means Rule Z is defeated. This piece only indicates that. That's the only thing that Sonozaki Shion learned by gambling her life. But I think that it's very important. Every time I see Satoko and Shion joke about pumpkins, I think that. Pumpkins. Okay, we're on the last explanation piece. These are much shorter than anything else. This is the end. We have 2 more things left. We're at 10 minutes. The game piece that uncovers the invisible rule Y that has been pulling the strings from the beginning. Because the impression of that is so strong, it's easy to forget about something very important. You can't forget that this piece also shows the path to smash Rule Z. Rule Z is the foremost tragic of all of Frederica's fate, and she has actually once given up. However, for Maebara, Keiichi, and the others who have already learned everything, it isn't even an enemy. They knew the correct way to fight and fought according to the rules of the game board. As a result, we win, and the fact is more valuable than anything for us. Then Maebara Keiichi teaches me a lesson. There's no need to subject ourselves to any fate. Okay, so this is the one where he defeats fate. Onokakushi is the first one. Why does that... Onokakushi sounds like the first one to me, right? The fate that is always subjected to me is created by Takano Mio's strong will to believe. So what he says is correct. To defeat the will to believe, we need a stronger will to believe. Strong intention can only be pierced with strong intention. Fight fire with fire. We defeated rules X, Z, and then challenged the final rule Y, but we needed more pieces. Each piece fought as its best, but the strength of our enemy's pieces, led by Takano Mio, was just too powerful. She didn't even give us mercy. She squished us completely and made us restart the game all over again. Although we lost, we didn't give up the resolve in our hearts, because we finally found the true culprit, and we also found the clue on how to fight against her. We can't win with the pieces we have now. We don't have enough will to believe or strong enough intention. But Hanyu and I keep trying. We roll our die repeatedly, look for the greatest result, collect pieces, and try again. With a stronger will than Takano. Did you think of giving up several times before you got to this point? To be honest, never. But I did take lots of breaks. Which is super interesting. It's super interesting to read that line. Because they're like, we expected you to like give up. But you made it because you believed in me and followed me. We're almost there. We can do it. Dude, this is the longest visual novel I've ever played. But it's super cool. I took a lot of breaks, but we're here. Let's create the last piece, because that will be the greatest piece, and we won't need anything else. The very last piece. Come on. Let's collect the pieces. Let's collect miracles. Please put your hopes, desires, and dreams onto me. That's a little inspirational. Yo, we're here. I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I played the first episode of this. I was like, oh, this is going to be an interesting, 60-hour experience. If only I knew. If only I knew what life would transpire before I got to the end of this. After collecting miracles from the 7 pieces, I finally got hold of this piece. This piece holds our final fate. But before we take a peek, let's please just wait for a bit. The fate that's inside will be decided the moment we take a peek. If I told you about the story about the cat in the box? The cat in the box alive or dead? If you open the box, you'll know, but you won't know until you open it. It could be alive and it could be dead. Freaking Schrodinger's box is everywhere, dude. In other words, before you open the box, the live cat and the dead cat coexist at the same time. The moment you open the box, you find out the truth and the incorrect answer disappears. Inside of this piece is the same thing. The future we desire and the future Takano desires coexist at the same time. They are opposing each other and denying each other's future. Once we take a peek, one of the futures disappears. If we have enough pieces, we can take a look inside this piece. But we only have the same pieces lined up at the same way on the game board. And the game under the same condition was Takano's complete victory. We've already tried in the piece of Higurashi, which is the previous one. We need more pieces. We need the help of a piece that's powerful and strong enough to defeat Rule Y. Until I get a hold of that piece, it's too scary to take a peek inside this piece. But how do I get such a piece? It's a piece I've never gotten a hold of before. To get it, I need it. Just one more time. I need one more miracle to get that piece. What? So this is where the real game starts. Because we just did all that stuff. So maybe we still have a while to go. Oh, dude, we just got another piece. Can we save it? Can I save it here? I'm gonna hit exit. I'm gonna save it because I'm scared that it's gonna be like, all right, and that's it. And I'm only gonna have my last save. Look at all the saves that I have, dude. I'm gonna go ahead and save it. Let's make sure we have every piece before we go into that final piece, and they didn't just throw in a random one for the secret ending. Like they added another one down here or something, and like because I didn't click on that, I don't get the true ending. I'm just gonna make sure, go through. Okay, sweet. I have all of them. You checked. You saw it. Everything's there. What? What is this? I never noticed this tiny little piece. Sometimes a piece gets cracked and breaks. Just like how we believe, or how the fate we believe cracks sometimes. A cracked fate is a completely different fate. Then which fate does this piece belong to? I pick up the tiny piece and I try to match it. I try to match it with the pieces I have in my hand. And the last piece I picked is the piece of the Himatsubushi chapter. This piece is distorted from the beginning. And look. See? This tiny piece fits perfectly. With this tiny piece, how would the world change? What kind of miracle would occur? The whole world warps. I reattached the broken piece, so I guess a fault line was created. But that doesn't mean I can't take a peek inside. It is already after the 60th year of the Showa era. It is the time after Frude Rika and the other story finished in the dead end of the June of the 50th year of the Showa era. I hear an older with some interference, an order. I don't know why. I don't know. I hear an order with some interference through my headset. To all units, the chief has a message for all of you. Listen up. Good work, everyone. The local police has given us 15 minutes to wrap this up, but I'm giving you a few seconds. Don't let a single person escape. The main target is a diplomat. Don't let him suspect that you're a cop. Just grab him. But make sure you don't hurt him. If we do, it'll lead to diplomatic problems. They're dirtbags who hide under diplomatic immunity to deal with the local gangsters. They launder money from drug dealing and force people into the sex slave trade by means to pay off the high interest debts. According to the local embassy, some of the victims are younger than teenagers. Shitbags. Normally, this is a simple case with gangsters being involved. But when the police found out this case included a foreign diplomat, things got complicated all of a sudden. Diplomats have the diplomatic immunity, so they can't arrest them. But the police know he is an important figure in the scheme, and there's no doubt that he is the middleman between the illegal activities conducted by the foreign criminal organization and the Japanese gangsters. They can't let him escape. It'll be easy to deport him, but that doesn't solve anything. The police have asked the embassy where he works for assistance, but they denied their request. And the case was put on standstill at that point. That's when they found out the organization is going to be selling our self-defense forces classified radar and missile technology street secrets. The Public Safety Division set the move on the premise to protect the classified government information. And today's the day this operation is set to go. So we're in the future. That's what I'm getting. We're in a future of a dead end where we died. Was that what I'm understanding? I mean I've already recorded this, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But 2 men at the front stairs, 2 men at the underground entrance, 4 men at the back door. All suspects are believed to be armed. 2 more than usual, huh? It'll only take 2 seconds more for that man. He shows no mercy. Can you hear Akasaka? You'll be the lead man. Be careful. Okay, let's move. This is Akasaka. Copy. Let's go. A man suddenly appears in the corner downtown. It's Akasaka, but he doesn't have the naiveness that showed when he first met Rika. When he gets to the entrance of the underground club, a bouncer with a heavy foreign accent stops him. This place. Members only. Do you have a membership card? Akasaka pulls out a membership card. It's a card that's very difficult to forge, so they could only get one. Since he is the lead man, he got it. When the bouncer confirms the membership card, he lets him in. Akasaka-san passed the bouncer at the entrance. He's going down the stairs. Come on, Akasaka. At the end of the staircase, there's an overly decorated door like the ones you see at those high-class clubs. The cocktail lights shine like venom, as if it's foretelling that this is the entrance to an evil cave. Welcome, may I see your membership card? The guard at the entrance takes the membership card and puts it through the card reader on the wall. Beep. An error sound. A slight perspiration is seen on Akasaka's forehead. The guard swipes the card a couple more times more. Beep, beep. Akasaka-san is having a problem. Did they change the system? If Akasaka gets into trouble, we'll change the plan. We'll secure Akasaka's safety. The other guard starts to look irritated. His right hand reaches inside of his pocket. He's probably reaching to his gun. Ding dong. The buzzer suddenly rings a delightful tone and the card reader flashes a green light. Immediately after that, the lock to the door unlocks. Thank you for waiting. Please go in. The guard pulls his hand out of his jacket and opens the door. Loud music and flashing colorful lights fill from the inside. A well-dressed guard comes from the inside and welcomes him. At this moment, Akasaka's first mission is accomplished. This is a go signal for all units. At the same time, it means Akasaka is in enemy territory all by himself and he's in an extremely dangerous position. This door is the biggest obstacle to make the ambush. The door locks automatically, so once it closes, it's locked at the same time. It's a solid door and it is extremely difficult to open from the outside. Someone has to open this door and keep it open for several seconds in order for this raid to begin, and Akasaka is the only one who can do that. This is Akasaka. Entrance secured. Go, go, go! The building on the other side of the club is getting a new tenant, and there are 2 trucks parked in front of it. But they are both disguises. The door of one of the trucks opens, and several dozen plainclothes investigators jump out. The same thing is happening at the back door, too. The ground level guards notice this and begin to draw their guns, but they are taken down immediately by the investigators nearby who are standing as innocent bystanders. Several dozen investigators quietly go down the underground stairs. These narrow underground stairs are another obstacle in this operation. Everything is on the security camera, so within a few seconds this ambush is going to be known. A push on the security button will make it impossible for the door to be opened from the outside. That's why they must secure the door before the ambush. The guards on both sides of Akasaka notice the loud footsteps coming down the stairs. The well-dressed guard also realizes something is wrong. The 3 guards shift their attention from Akasaka to the back stairs. Akasaka senses the shift of their attention. Akasaka takes a small breath and stops his breath. The 2 guards standing beside him suddenly rise to the air and change positions. What? Hold on. Shift their attention. Small breath and stops his breath. The 2 guards him suddenly rise in the air and change positions. figured out his position alongside the two guards next to him, so he didn't need to check with his eyes. But still, his fists drove into their face with precise accuracy. His moves are well trained and shows no mercy against evil. They are destructive as an armor-piercing ammunition. He retracts his arms at the same speed as he struck. Everything looks so strange in the flashing lights. Men who saw this probably can't figure out what just happened. The two guards are up in the air in weird positions, and the man who was standing in front of him is now crouching low. The time that seemed to have stopped suddenly begins to move at crashing speed. The well-dressed guard is now smashed to the ceiling and now crashing down onto the floor. He will try to remember desperately while slurping liquid food at a later date whether it was his fist or leg that broke his jaw. He probably won't remember. Luckily, he rolls on the floor and blocks the door so Akasaka doesn't have to hold the door open anymore. This is Akasaka, I'm going in. Wait for the backup. Akasaka. The room is filled with loud music, but everyone already noticed the brouhaha at the entrance. Everyone get down. As soon as Akasaka bellows his warning, screams fill the club. Most of the people immediately duck to the floor as if they're trying to proclaim their innocence from their sins. But all the guards react quickly against Akasaka. In the midst of this, there are a few people who are trying to make their escape through the back with several guards. Akasaka restarts his breathing once more, then stops again, and runs after them like a wolf. He jumps onto the table, smashing expensive bottles of alcohol and scattering glasses with ice cubes made from the icebergs of the Arctic. A foreign bodyguard, whose previous profession must have been a professional boxer, thoughtlessly stands in front of Akasaka. With a heavy accent, he tries to taunt Akasaka. But Akasaka doesn't care? Akasaka doesn't care less about that. The only show this man was able to show was that he was able to block Akasaka's move, but it wasn't even a guard. The power of Akasaka's punches are so incredible that he's crazy. That it'll just break the man's bones in desperate attempt to block them. And a man's arms wrap in a strange way and movement, and a moment after his face shows agony, Akasaka's left arm grinds into his face. Akasaka's right-handed, so this man should be grateful that he was able to get away with just an orbital fracture. What the fuck? Another man tries to tackle Akasaka from behind, thinking this is his chance. He thought no matter how strong a guy is, he'll go down easily being attacked from behind. He also thought that because he's concentrating in front of him, he isn't expecting an attack from behind. But it's only if Akasaka is actually concentrating in front of him. He's very wrong if Akasaka isn't even thinking of a guy in front of him. Akasaka knows exactly when and what is about to happen. The experience he has built up to this day has taught him that. His body remembers the timing and method when menaces to society like these would make their move from his back. He continues fluidly with his left arm that he struck against the ex-boxer. His left arm retracts, and at the same time he arcs his left leg around beautifully as it crashes into... Man, I wonder if this is in the anime. I'm very curious, because this sounds sick. This sounds like a cool fight scene, maybe. It's probably not. Sounds like a big animation budget. I don't know if it has that. The dull sound tells that his nose is broken. But Akasaka already knows that. Akasaka continues his motion and directs a decisive blow to the side of his head. The man slams into the wall and bounces back to roll on the floor. Akasaka takes another breath. With the glare of the flashing club lights, the guards realize that they are up against a demon. There's no way to interfere with him. The guards are being paid to fight with humans. Fighting against non-humans isn't on their job list. Finally, the backup arrives. Maybe finally isn't the suitable word. Besides, everything happened in a matter of seconds. The time it took for Akasaka to take down those 5 guards was just the span of 2 breaths. Put your hands above your head and get down to the floor. I won't guarantee your life if you resist. Thanks to Akasaka's heroic move, the flow is already set. The oppressive strike of Akatsuka shatters the gang leader's will to run. They are all down on the floor, but one of them shows a smile. You shouldn't touch me. It'll evoke a diplomatic scandal. Akatsuka grabs his collar and smashes it against a concrete wall. Are you a policeman? I have diplomatic immunity. I'm a diplomat. Good for you. How much do you get paid, huh? This will be a diplomatic scandal. Let me call the with a dragon-like roar, Akatsuka's right fist pounds the wall right next to the diplomat's head. What the fuck? Is Akatsuka like All Might? Like, what's going on? Immediately after that, his left fist pounds the wall on the other side of the diplomat's head. Akatsuka pounds the wall 7 times just a shiver away from the diplomat's head. His fist is powerful enough to crush the man's head instantly. The man crumbles down on the floor. This is Akatsuka, target secured. The later investigation finds out that there's a secret gateway route that the public safety didn't know about. They found dozens of Soviet military-grade machine guns, and if Akatsuka hadn't stopped them in the club, they would have escaped, or even worse, this operation might have ended with a brutal death toll on both sides. All due to Akatsuka's great work, this operation was put down without a single shot fired. Are they gonna say, just theory crafting, possible ending, just based off the information that we just got, are they gonna say that because Akatsuka was away from all of this, is it gonna be that in order to save millions, we have to kill those that are loved? Because Akatsuka needs to study the work and study and be away for all that time and not be helping out with some stupid thing that's over with us. Otherwise, this won't happen. Is that what we're telling me right now? Because that was not what I expected. But that would be an interesting ending to the story. I'm just trying to think of like how they could end it. And I feel like that would be probably the most like climactic. Like, I realized that day that I couldn't save those that I love. That sometimes the greater good is to save millions of other people. Or something like that. Or maybe she's willing to risk other people's lives to save her friends. And that's like what's going on here. I don't know. Come on, the local police will be here soon. Put them on the truck. Since the foreign diplomat is involved, we have to make sure it doesn't look like this whole thing was carried out by the police. The operation was made to look like a simple gangster war. Because the implication is that we need Akatsuka because he breaks one of the rules. We need Meibar, we need Shion, and we need Akatsuka. But if Akatsuka can't come, then we're just screwed. Unless, of course, before handing him over, they'll make sure he spills everything he knows. This diplomatic pig will be used as a negotiating device by another part of our department. There is plenty of evidence that this pig is tied to an underground criminal organization. The embassy won't want a persona non grata on their hands, so they will cut off any ties with him. The rest is the other department's business. Public safety's job is to take care of things, and the regular police can't step in. Akatsuka, you okay? Come in, Akatsuka. This is Akatsuka. We're on our way. You've done it again. The chief will be on your case. Akatsuka-san is a demon. 5 men within seconds. That's not karate anymore. His fists are deadly weapons. But it's lucky that none of them drew their guns. Knowing how brutal Akatsuka-san is, he could have turned them into honeycombs. Shut up. Don't make me sound like an assassin. I have no mercy against evil, that's all. The pigs that he caught today are not just average criminals, they've committed so many unforgivable crimes. The power of Akatsuka's fist is proportional to their sins. The heavier their sins, the more powerful his blows are. Come on, round them up. That's an interesting superpower. Akatsuka, make them hurry. The local police will be here. This is Akatsuka, Roger. You guys here? Hurry up. Command, we have 5 injured. Please have the meds ready. I'm looking for a fighting game where Akatsuka's in it. I want to play I want a fighting game with all these characters in it. That like when they go crazy. Oh, that would be sick. Like Mugen, like Mugen it up and put like. If you guys don't know what Mugen is, it's like a fighting game where you put characters in there. But like, imagine you put like crazy Rena, crazy Meibara, crazy Xion, crazy, like you just put all of them in there and you just make a fighting game, and then Akasuka's there too, just being Akasuka. That would be sick, dude. I'd play the shit out of that fighting game. There'd be no trace of the naiveness in Akasuka. He has grown to be vigilant, a vigilant ace in his department. Oh, that's the end of that. We're halfway. It could be halfway. I'm used to that being the end because I've been playing. That music is very good. Like I would listen to that. That sounds like a Persona track almost. Like I feel like I would listen to that track, like unironically outside of. I'll have to find that track and like what it's called. Probably in the game's code. Somewhere I'll find it. Akasuka is training inside a dark dojo filled with the smell of sweats and mold. This dojo is located in the middle of downtown in a small building. It's not that big and it's not well equipped either. Sure doesn't look like a dojo where a skilled person like Akasuka trains. There are only three or four students, including Akasuka, but this is the dojo Akasuka picked. To Akasuka, karate is the way to fight against his enemy, but he has a different reason. To achieve his goal, a dojo with many young students having actual physical lessons doesn't work. He's gone to so many different dojos, and this is the one he finally found. Every time Akasuka punches a sandbag, a heavy sound of his punch and the sound of a chain echo. He's not just punching blindly. He thinks first, then develops his thoughts, then punch. It's more of a deep and low vibration than a sound. Drops of sweat scatter and the dust wells up in the air. It's an all-for-one type of strike. I just read that right. It's an all-for-one type of strike, guys. But he isn't satisfied. He closes his eyes and controls his breathing as if he's trying to hear the cry of the cicadas and punches again. It almost appears as if he's taking a break here and there. The other students can feel the monstrosity of the propelled clouds and send chills down their spines. I heard Akasuka-san works at the police department. Really? Someone like him is a policeman. I don't want to do anything bad. But his concentration is amazing. He never gets tired. On his days off, Akasuka comes to the dojo early in the morning. And he trains all day just silently. His training is no longer a physical one. It's more of a mental training for him. The other students already know his continuous concentration is the secret of his strength. But that's easier said than done. A man lives a life filled with many problems and ecstatic thoughts. For a person to submit all his will into such a singular focus is more like trying to attain enlightenment than a realm of martial arts. Man has tried many different methods to achieve such enlightenment. And there's not only one way. Any man can get there as long as he focuses on that one subject. Karate is just what Akasuka chose. The rumor says his wife is dead. Supposedly he's doing karate to forget about it. Really? That's different from what I heard. I heard he can't save a girl or something on the job, so he realized his weakness or something like that. Yeah, I can hear you. We're talking about other people and train. Yes, sir. There's a small beeping sound. Somebody's watch is telling it's noontime. Kasuka-san, we're going to get some lunch. Can we get you something too? Sure, please. I don't care what you get. Thanks. Kasuka is more delighted about being alone in the dojo than having them bring back lunch for him. When they leave, silence fills the dojo. Shit. My focus dissipated because they talked about me. But if his focus shifted because of a small talk like that means he has much more training to do. He has to train much harder if he wants to achieve enlightenment. He focuses again and starts to punch the sandbag, but the sound is a lot lighter than before, and obviously the strength in his fist is no longer there. He realizes he needs to take a break. He pulls out a towel from his bag and sits down. The sound of the cicadas soaks into his body. The windows are open, but there's no breeze coming in. But he can feel a little breeze. Just like they say, the reason that Akasaka started karate is Yuki's death. Of course, losing against the suspect in the kidnapping incident was one reason too. But more than that, the pain from Yuki's death made him start karate. Yuki fell down the stairs at the hospital and died while he was on a business trip in Shishibo. He couldn't get rid of the sadness, so he started karate. But in June of the 58th year of the Showa era, when the Hinamizawa disaster occurred, he realized something very important. A girl predicted Yuki's death, and in return she wanted him to help her. Yuki's death was an accident. He could have told himself there was nothing he could have done. But the girl, Fururika's death, was different. She knew about her own death 5 years prior to that. When the Hinamizawa disaster occurred, he remembered about Oishi and called him to make sure he's okay, and then found out about everything. When he found out, he fell into despair. Fururika was the turning point in his life. If he had believed what she predicted and did something about it, maybe Yuki didn't have to fall down the stairs. He took the oath of serving the public as a police officer, yet he couldn't notice a plea of help from a little girl. He shoved aside the conspiracy surrounding her until it was too late. He had 5 years to do something about it, but didn't do anything. She died. Visiting Hinamizawa was for the kidnapping case of the minister's grandson was definitely the turning point in his life. If he had only listened to what the girl had said, Yuki would have never died. Or, either it was that ending I said before, or it could be that this piece is needed for him to remember what happens. Because so far, like, people like remember what happened in different world lines. So it's not like exclusive to Rika. I think we're wrong in thinking that Rika has only memories because we've seen that Maebara and I think even Shion can remember what happened in previous lives. So if this piece is needed for him to, like, it's past what happened, but he needs to know this happens in order for him to help out the group, maybe that's what they're going for. Yuki would have never died, and he would have been there to help Fururika. These two things still haunt him. The series of mysterious deaths in Yamizawa that he heard from Oishi was put on infinite hiatus because of the Hinamizawa disaster. But it was apparent to both of them that there was some conspiracy behind it. To challenge such things, he needs to get all the strength and experience that he could get. He's devoting himself to gain such strength, but it's too late. Everything is done already. When he was stuck in this dilemma, the dojo instructor admonished him. There's absolutely nothing one can do about what's already done. Then, the only thing he can do is train diligently, but if the same thing is to happen again, he would be able to save a person in need. Dude, imagine Akasaka comes back, he like realizes all this, and then like at the final thing, he realizes he can do karate without any training, and then he just like punches the crap out of what's her name? Mio Takano. Yuki died in an accident. Hinamizawa was destroyed in the gas disaster, and Rika was murdered as her guts were torn out while she was alive. Shit. He was too immersed by Yuki's death, and he couldn't hear the girl's plea of help. No, if he had listened to her, he could have prevented Yuki's accident too. Damn it. Damn it. Shit. As Akasaka clutches his hair and looks up, there's a small shrine overhead to protect the dojo. Akasaka respects Shinto and Buddhism, but he never thought of himself seeking salvation at times of despair. But for the first time, he wants to pray for help. If it's something he's capable of doing himself, he wouldn't pray about it. But it's something he can't do anything about, so he prays. It's a very selfish wish. If his wish were to come true, everyone in the whole world would wish for the same thing. Please. Please give me another chance to go back to that time. I swear. I will save both of them this time. At that moment, Akasaka's body feels light suddenly. No, more like he's losing balance, as if he's fainting. Perhaps it was because he shouted so loudly and the training in his brain is lacking oxygen. But he can't take his eyes off the shrine. Thank you, Akaska. Is that when he dies? We needed your thoughts. Is this hallucination due to a lack of oxygen? Akaska feels like a stranger is talking to him. We must wish for a miracle, and you must wish for a miracle too. Otherwise a miracle won't happen. Because unless everyone wishes for a miracle, it won't happen. Unless both sides reaches out, the hands won't meet. He doesn't know what he's trying to say, but somehow he feels like he can't miss any of it. He thinks that she's saying something very important. Akaska, if you wish, I'll grant you this miracle. And it'll be a miracle for us too. By putting the broken pieces together, you'll create a big piece. Your single resolve can make a huge difference in the lives of many. Can you turn back time to that day? No, I can't do that. The only thing I can do is let you notice. To let you notice that the things you can't learn from one piece, you can learn from other pieces. So all you have to do is return to this broken piece where it belongs to. That is the big miracle itself. Although you probably won't notice it. Thank you, Akaska. Thank you for remembering me. I don't even know how much time I've spent asking you for help. And finally it reached you. So I'll say one more time. Help me. No. Help us. Jeez. Alright, I think that's where we're going to end it because there were 46. And they're probably going to give us another... Probably going to give us another thing. I think the next episode's at the end, though. What? What? What's happening? What? So we had to get that piece before we could go here. So we were going to peek inside, but we were like, wait a second. Like, do we really want to peek inside? And then that led us to get this piece. And then we're like, okay, let's peek inside. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and exit here. I'm going to save it here. In the same slot that I saved it before. We're going to end this out, I think. I think we're done next episode. So stay tuned. That'll be pretty soon. Thank you guys again for sticking with me. We're finally coming to an end. I think this has been a year. I think it's been about a year. So I'm excited. I'm curious to see what they do, although I'm pretty sure it's going to be that Akaska now is going to notice that happened before in a previous life, and that's going to be the key to getting Akaska to participate. Really, the only reason this is happening is because Rika can go back in time a bunch. So like ideally, or not ideally, but like, if you think about it, like Mio Takano actually wins, but we're just like, we're cheating almost. I don't know. It just feels like cheating if you have magical powers that can rewind time versus someone that can't do that. And it's taken Rika like 100 tries to like figure out what's going on, which is like understandable considering it's like life, and life is very complicated, and I know from playing Steins Gate that this is complicated. But it's just interesting how like Takano is so powerful that even among 100 different realities she wins, and we're looking for the one where she doesn't. We're out here trying to like, I don't know, we're out here trying to play the Avengers or some shit. Or Steins Gate. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode, whenever that may be, and peace out, you guys.
I don't understand what's going on here.